So this is Transaction Desk 101. Transaction Desk is the tool set that you get within your Matrix account. When you're on your Matrix account, you come down here to log into Transaction Desk. Okay, now here's the thing about working with Transaction Desk. First of all, when you log in, do me a favor, everybody, can you try to do this on your computers for me? Log into your Matrix account and check for me to see if your screen looks like mine. While you guys are looking at that, here's the thing about working with Transaction Desk. What Transaction Desk does well is it auto-populates. I'm getting some feedback from you guys, hang on. All right, so here's the great thing about Transaction Desk. Transaction Desk auto-populates a lot of data, important data that if you screw up in a contract, you can get yourself sued. It also does the math in the respective financing sections. What it doesn't do is tell you what forms need to be with what type of transaction. So what I want you guys to do when you're looking to do a contract, I want you guys to, within back agent, under office, under documents, this is where all our contracts and documents reside. Now, what I'll tell you, what I would suggest to you, in the beginning, until you get a really good understanding of what you guys need to be doing, what forms go with what, use these sections like right here: complete buyer packet, complete selling packet. So, let's say we were doing a buyer packet. All right, you have, if you're doing an as-is or a residential, it's all right here, and when you click it, you'll see all the pages that you need for this transaction. Then what you can do is, for example, you download it and you're like, okay, I need this contract, so you know where to go get that. This is the standard residential contract. So it'll tell you, packet wise what you need to do. With regard to, and by the way, here's the seller disclosure statement. Here's the Alton Clark disclosures. You need these on every transaction, okay? So when you do any contract, you need whatever contract you choose, as is or regular residential, and then you need to have the seller's disclosure statement. So if you're on the buying side, you're going to get that from the agent on the other side. Now, if that agent has done any manner of job, it'll be in the listing. It'll be in the listing. Let me see here. Let's check some listings here and see if we've got, okay. So right here, see these little paper icons? These are all the disclosures. So right here is where you would get that, okay? So again, I need the contract. I need the seller disclosures I can get from the MLS. You need to use the Alton Clark disclosures. Each contract, each scenario has different disclosures depending on the scenario, right? If the house was built prior to 1978, what kind of addendum needs to be included or disclosure? Anyone? Lead-based paint, right? And then if we've got an FHA, if we have an FHA deal, we need the FHA rider. Okay, so be paying attention to each scenario and know what forms you need. So let's go back into the Transaction Desk, okay, and make sure, do me a favor, everybody type in the chat, were you able to get to the Transaction Desk Pro version? If what you have looks like this, don't use that. See this Pro up here on the right? Click that and get into Pro, okay? I only work with the Pro version, okay? So, Ingrid, do you have the address for the property that you went and previewed the other day? Can you type it into the chat? I think if I remember correctly, it was something Runyon. Yep, when pending, Ingrid. All right, let's say that we wanted to submit an offer on this one. This is an REO that Ingrid was interested in. And here's here's an example, Ingrid. Unfortunately, there's no moving slowly in anything that we do, and this is what you got to convey to all your clients too. When they're ready, they got to be ready to preview houses and be ready to write a contract. This thing was on for 45 days, so who wouldn't logically think, okay, well, I have some time. You just never know. So, all right, so here's the thing. The way to make Transaction Desk work, okay? And by the way, make sure you all don't work in Light, you work in Pro. For me personally, I always queue up Transaction Desk from within a transaction, okay? So what I mean is if I want to submit an offer on 2631 Runyon Circle, I'm going to come right here to the TD for Transaction Desk. And if you hover over any of these things, by the way, it will tell you what they are. By the way, I had some questions lately about showing time. While I have you guys here, just let me go over this, by the way. You click this to request a showing. If you see in Realtor Remarks or anywhere else where it says use the request a showing button, that's what you do. Now right here it's saying it's no longer available, so it's not going to let me even request one. I don't know if you guys can see it, but down here in the bottom left hand corner it says schedule a single showing. Now when you click that, another window will pop up, and there it'll say electronic lockbox, combo, gate code, whatever is necessary information to give you, that's where it'll be. I don't know if you can see it, but under your name and the company name, there will be a section for your state license. Make sure you enter your state license number in there, not your MLS ID, not your NERDS ID, your state license, okay? All right, so let's get back to this. I want to submit an offer on 2631 Runyon. So from within the transaction, I'm going to hit Transaction Desk, and a new window is now going to launch from within Transaction Desk. What's nice is it's going to auto-populate all the information for this particular transaction. So as you can see, 2631 Runyon Circle, Orlando, Florida, 32837. So that's pretty cool. Now, if I want, I can come in here and enter some more information to kind of make my life easier. So let me go back here, and one of the first things I'm going to need is I need to know who owns the property. So the owner is Bank of America, okay? And by the way, how I did that is right here is the Realist Property Detail Report, and that will basically pull all the information from the county records. Okay, so Bank of America is the owner, and the reason I'm showing you that is because I want to add their name as the owner. So I'm going to come here to add contacts participants, and I'm going to hit the arrow, and I'm going to click on the seller, continue, and the owner name, Bank of America. Okay, and that's it. I'm just going to do Bank of America. I'm not going to do anything else. Save contact information. Okay, so for crying out loud. So we'll do that. So now I have Bank of America. Right here I have just owner of record. I don't like doing that. So I'm going to delete the owner of record selection. Now I'm going to add a new transaction contact. I'm going to add my buyer. Okay, so you click this drop down, find the buyer's information, hit continue, and I want to put my buyer's name. Okay, so let's just say, it's Bobby Buyer. Okay, so I'm going to save that. So why am I doing this? Why? Because now whenever I enter a new form in there, it's automatically going to put all the owners and my client's information into the contract for me. So it just saves a little bit of time. So by the way, this left side here is your navigation here in the transaction. So you hit transaction overview, and so now I've got I've got Bank of America. I've got Bobby Buyer, and I've got the listing agent, me, who's submitting the offer in there. So now we're all good. All right, so now I need to add forms for this transaction. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do while I'm in there adding a form is first I'm going to come in here and look at this property, and I'm going to see what instructions there are. So to make an offer, use the following link for offer runway. So this property has to be, the offer has to be submitted online, and it's being sold as is, so that's going to require what? An as is contract. So, okay, so now I know what contract I need, so I'm going to come in here, FAR bar, right? FAR bar residential, as is, residential contract for sale and purchase. So I highlight it, hit add selected forms to transaction. Okay, now just in case, I'm going to add some more forms. Okay, in this instance, I need to add more forms, so I'm going to hit the orange arrow here again. And my client, my hypothetical client, Bobby Buyer, he is an FHA buyer. So I'm going to click FHA VA Writer and add selected forms to transaction. Okay. Double checking here, we have supplements, by the way. So we can do the general contract addendum, which is cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this, see how it downloads to my computer, and then I am going to put this on my desktop. I'm going to preview what the guidelines are here on this particular property. Okay, property is listed as is, appraised value. Property cannot be sold for less than current as is appraised. Look at this, no repair reimbursements. So I know this has to be an as is, and I know I can't ask anything. No home warranties. Home inspection and connection of utilities for inspection will be at buyer's expense. Boy, this is a real winner property. Seller will not contribute to closing costs, so don't even bother asking for it. Okay, we'll address it as well. Okay, so that's all I really need to know in this instance. So you kind of want to know these things before you go, submitting your offers. So I have an as is, I have an FHA VA Writer. I need to add this addendum that I downloaded. Let me show you here what I'm talking about. Here's the addendum that I downloaded from online. So we're going to add that to the equation. Okay, so we're going to come back here. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to complete this form on my computer, and then I'm going to upload it here in a minute into Finalizing, and I'll show you how we do that. All right, so let me go back, transaction overview. That takes me to the general screen. Okay, and if you remember correctly, every contract we need the Alton Clark disclosures, right? So I'm going to download these, right? I'm going to download these. So I got that. So I got the Alton Clark disclosures. There are no seller disclosures. Okay, so what you would do in this instance, okay, whenever you're dealing with an REO, bank owned, whatever the case may be, you go get and do a seller disclosure, and here's what you do. So in the form section, I'm going to edit and I'm going to add another form. I'm going to come here, add new forms, hit the arrow, and what I'm going to do is I'm looking for a seller's property disclosure. Okay, so under FAR agency disclosures, listings and commissions forms, I'm going to find the seller's property disclosure. I can also, if I so choose, use the one that is in Alton Clark. Okay, so you can use this as well. And here's what you're going to do with this. You're going to take this form, and unfortunately you're going to have to print it out, and you're going to draw a line right through the middle of it. And then across that line, use excuse me guys, use a Sharpie or something to that effect and write seller has not occupied property. Okay, seller has not occupied property. And then you have your clients, and you do that to every page. Draw a line through it, seller has not occupied property, have your client's initial, and do it for each of these pages. Okay, so what you're basically telling your client is that there's no seller disclosures, and you're going to still have them sign. Okay, or you can go right here and you can add the seller property disclosure in here. Now I've got all three forms that I need to fill out within Transaction Desk. The general contract addendum that I downloaded from Matrix, I am going to fill out on my desktop because it's a fillable form. Now, click right here to auto-populate update forms. You're going to click this, and what it's going to do is it's now made sure that every form has got all the names that we took the time to enter. Okay? All right, so let's go into as is, and let's go ahead and complete this real quick. Okay, now you see how it auto-populated? This is what's nice about Transaction Desk. Bank of America is already in there. Bobby Buyer is already in there. And here's, for me, the most important part. The address, but more importantly, the tax ID or parcel ID and the legal description are auto-populated in here. I can't express to you enough, screw up one time, mistype a digit on a legal description or a tax ID, and you're going to get red flagged at title, and your closing is going to get delayed, and God forbid they miss it, you're headed for a world of hurt. So we're going to submit an offer on this. It's at 166, right? So let's say that we're going to go with a full price offer of 166, right? My cash escrow is I don't accept anything less than $1,500 from my clients. Now, my client is FHA, right? So I'm going to come in here to financing, and I'm going to multiply 166 times 96.5% or 0.965. Okay, now here's what's really nice. As soon as I'm done with this section, watch how it does my math for me. Now, my balance to close has changed. I don't have to worry about doing any further math, and my balance to close is 4310. Okay. Now you do need to do, now this is a bank-owned property, so you got two options. A company's or is to be made within a certain amount of time. That within usually is 3 days. So here's what you do. Oh, Barb, I see you just jumped in. If you have questions, put it in the chat window for me, please. And then I'll unmute you guys in a little bit. So here's what you do with deposits. Me personally, I always have them accompany an offer on a traditional purchase. Now, this is not a traditional purchase. This is an REO. Now, let's say it's an REO with no competition. I'm going to check is to be made within, and I'm going to come in here and put 2 days. Now, please remember, in the state of Florida, we have 3 days to get escrows turned in. Do me a favor, treat it like a hot potato and make sure you get it turned in within 24 hours. Do not hold escrow. Holding escrow and not turning it in when you're supposed to is the single most penalizing thing for real estate agents, what they're fined for the most in Orlando here. So please treat that like a hot potato, okay? Now, also, don't forget when you get a, when you do turn in your escrow, you have two options for this. You may either look for that information here. If they're smart, they'll put it here. They weren't smart. And let's say I don't like the company that they're using. So I'm going to go ahead and hold escrow with broker's title. Okay. And I'm going to put all their information in here. And I'm good to go. Okay. Now, again, when you do turn in your deposit, please make sure you get an escrow deposit receipt. Escrow deposit receipt. And then make sure you put that in your hard copy file that you keep on your hard drive. All right. I'm not going to do time of acceptance because there's no competition and I don't want to upset the bank. I'm going to set my closing date for, this is an REO. I'm an FHA buyer, so I'm going to give it 45 days. So we're going to try to close August 7th, which is probably not even enough time. But nonetheless. All right, so I'm just going to walk through here. We've already done contract classes, so I'm not going to really sit here and review this too much, but we don't assign contracts. This is an FHA, so I'm going to check this loan's contingent upon an FHA buyer. It is fixed, so I have 30 days for loan commitment. I'm going to make sure I put that date on my calendar. By the way, we just had one happen yesterday. We are waiting until the 11th hour from the lender. Get this, the lender who pre-approved our client came back and said that there was an issue with a prior foreclosure, and at like 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon on the final day loan commitment was due, came back and gave us a denial. So here's the thing: you must turn in your denial or a loan commitment date within these 30 days. So we made it with a couple hours to spare. So make sure you pay attention to that. Okay, so I'm good. I don't need to fill out any more of this. I'm going to make sure that the seller's going to designate the closing agent. The offer instructions told me they will not provide a home warranty, so I'm going to NA it. I'm going to check seller will pay installments due prior, buyer shall pay after, like we should always do. Okay, I do want to be a little bit aggressive with this. If left blank, it's 15. I'm going to tell them 7, just to let them know I'm really serious about this. And the rest of this is definitions. Sorry if I'm making you dizzy. All right, so I'm going to check mark a few things. I got an FHA VA rider in here. Okay, I have. Ooh, we missed a form. There's an HOA fee that's due quarterly, so we're going to have to go back and do that. So we're going to have to do the FHA form. We've got the VA form, and we need to also have the seller's disclosure included as a part of this. So we will come in here. Okay, so I'm good. The rest of the information is filled out correctly. By the way, if you want to, just to be particular, come in here, verify the commission split is 2.5%, and come in here next to your name and write in 2.5%, just to be sure. All right, so I'm done with this form. Okay, save, make sure it's done, and then come back up here, exit. Okay, so this form is done, but I must add an HOA because we forgot that. So we're going to come back in here and I'm going to go hunting for the FHA form. Again, I'm going to drill down individual forms, go in here to far bar, and I'm going to find the Homeowners Association Community Disclosure Rider. Click Add Selected to Transaction. I'm going to click to auto-populate so it fills in the information I need. I'm going to go into this form and it should fill out majority of the information for me. Nice. Didn't have to do any homework. And I do believe it said 285 quarterly, so I'm going to come in right here, 285 per quarter. Okay, the rest of this form is done. File, save. File, exit. I need to go back and do the rest of my forms. Okay, the FHA VA rider. Again, filled out, Bank of America, Bobby Byard. It's already done my homework for me. This first section, inspections and appraisal. The cost of the seller for appraisal or repair shall not exceed, $100 is pretty standard. Check if applicable FHA financing. Okay, yes, it is. And basically what this says is FHA is not going to allow you to buy the property for more than it's worth. So we're going to come in here and we're going to put 166 because that is our offer price. So now that says that the purchaser shall have the privilege and option of proceeding with the consummation of the contract without regard to the appraised evaluation. So basically, it's like they can proceed, but it's on them at that point. All right, so the rest of everything is filled out. So good, file, save. Okay, file, exit. Okay, now you've got two options here. My suggestion to you is that, okay, Ingrid is asking, can we get 203K? Let me uncheck. Let me unmute you here. Ingrid, are you referring to? Oh, geez, I'm not going to unmute you. If you're referring to, here's the thing with 203K. It's a loan, and it is just like a VA loan. Matter of fact, it is an FHA 203K. It is a construction loan on a house that it needs repair. Now, here's the thing. You have to get a really good buy, because what's going to have to happen is you're going to have to get a loan amount for all of the funds that you need to use to fix the house, plus what you need to buy the house. And what they do is they go with what's called after repaired value, or ARV. So, like for instance, Ingrid, let's say that this particular house, and I apologize, guys, I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but I want to answer Ingrid. So, Ingrid, this house is at 166. Now, let's say the house is worth, let's say you need 20 grand in repairs. So, you've got 186, we'll call it 190 into the property. This property has to appraise in its after repaired state for higher than 190. And you got to make sure you get this property for a good price point if you got 20 grand to spend. So be paying attention to what the house is worth, how much the repairs are going to be, and then how much room you have between how much it's going to appraise for and what you buy it for. Okay? So we're going to go back in here now. Two options. You can either export all these things to a PDF, a single PDF, and combine them with the Alton Clark disclosures and the general contract addendum that's with this property, and then have your clients sign in person. So right here you would click print all forms to PDF. Okay, I'm not going to do that. Okay, I'm not going to do that because I don't like printing and wasting paper and hand signing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to electronically sign. So I have an account with Authentisign right here. By the way, if you're using, like, let's say DocuSign, you would need to print all these forms to PDF. You would need to combine them all and then upload them to DocuSign for signature. I highly recommend you use Authentisign. So in this case, I want all of these forms to go into Authentisign. Okay, so I'm going to click Authentisign right here, and this is a really cool thing for you to do. By the way, I'm going right into it because I've already paid. I don't know if they're still running the special. I would assume they are. I think it's $70 for the year, and I think they're running a special on it for $29. That's something you want to add to the equation if you find yourself needing to write contracts here real soon. If not, DocuSign does offer you 5 free envelopes in a trial method. So if you wanted to try them and then transition to this, you can. Okay, so you have the choice here. I'm going to go ahead and make Authentisign a part of this training. We'll do this real quick. You have two choices: single line signing, meaning I have one client, or they're going to go in the order I had placed them. Okay. Or simul signing, meaning whoever answers their email first, it's going to go to them. I just always do single line signing. It makes it a lot easier. Okay, so step one, that's taken care of. I'm going to use single line signing. Okay, I'm going to now enter my participants, and you click this little plus sign here on participants, and it's going to say add new participant, meaning I'm going to add somebody new, or I'm going to pull it from the transaction. Okay, so I'm going to pull it from the transaction, and I want to use Bobby Buyer because he's my client. So I'm going to add him. Okay, and so here's Bobby Buyer. Okay, and it's showing he's missing required information. What he's missing is an email address. So I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to put in my email address. Okay, so then we'll come back in here and save him. Always, always, always make sure you do that, okay? And you come in here and you can click this and enter in the email, okay? Because that's how you're going to be sending it to them for signature. Okay, documents, okay? So here's where you've got a lot of choices, and you can upload a bunch of different contracts from a bunch of different places. So I want to use all the ones that I created for this transaction, right? So here they all are. I'm going to highlight them all and hit add. But I also have two other forms I need to do. By the way, it's going to ask you who all is signing this and in what order. I do not want anyone else signing this in this instance. Actually, you do need to sign the FHA. So if you wanted to DocuSign it to yourself, you would come in here and do, you would add yourself as a participant in this transaction. But I'm going to pretend I'm going to hand sign my FHA obligation later. So Bobby Buyer is all I'm going to do. Hit save. Now, I have more forms I need to add, right? I have the Alton Clark disclosures and the general contract addendum that is required with this particular transaction. So I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to add. Now, here's the cool thing. You can add from all over the place: Google Drive, Dropbox. You can just You can upload it by fax, by email. So I'm going to upload it from my desktop. Okay, so I'm going to look for the general contract addendum. Now, I did not fill it out. We're going to pretend I did. And I would have filled it out on my computer. The Alton Clark disclosures are missing, so I'm going to add that as well. What am I going to do? I'm going to upload it from a file, and I'm going to go find the Alton Clark disclosures. I'm going to add those. Okay, so now I have all my forms in here. Okay, as is FHA, VA, seller property, homeowners association, general contract addendum, Alton Clark disclosures. Okay, make sure that you come in here and you check in every transaction, you read the realtor remarks, and you look at what the requirements are of that agent. If that agent is smart, they will tell you what you need to do. Okay, and then you also go here to the supplements tab and you look for any addendums you need. Here is where all seller disclosures should be, and any other addendums, maybe let's say that listing agent has for their company, so on and so forth. Okay, and you see how you add all that stuff together in one document, basically in Finalizing, which is really cool. All right, so we're done adding our forms. Step 4 is the design phase, and it is now going to prepare the 23-page document that is spread out over 5 different documents. But now the system is going to create it for me. Now look how awesome this is. It already knows Bobby Byer's name. And look at this. It's already inputted initials where they need to be. Very cool. Very, very cool. Okay, so everywhere. Now here's the thing. Check. Don't ever rely on the system. But the system is extremely intuitive, and it does a really good job. So I'm just going to go page by page like this, checking to make sure all my initials are where they need to be. Look at that. It even auto did the signature field and the auto date. Make sure you do that. Every page must be initialed. The signature sections must have a signature and date for that signature. Okay, again, I'm just going to keep going through all the forms. Initial, so date. Okay, now this is where I was telling you you need to sign as well. Now here's the cool part. In this instance, I told you I'm just going to hand sign because I didn't feel like entering myself in the system. But all you do in Finalizing is add yourself as a contact participant and put in your email address in there. And then when your client's done, you're automatically going to get an email. You click, all you're going to do is open your email. You're going to click right here and it's signed, and then it's going to come back to you as a PDF. It's really cool. This is the seller disclosures that I told you guys you had to do on your own. In this instance, because it's an REO and they did not provide one, you're going to draw a line right here through the center of it, and you're going to handwrite, seller has not occupied property. And then, oops, it missed some initials. So I'm going to come here to drag and drop. I'm going to find initial, and I'm going to drop my initials. Okay. Okay, so now I've got some work to do. The system didn't catch this form because this form wasn't pulled from within Transaction Desk. So when it pulls forms from Transaction Desk, it recognizes fields, but it doesn't recognize the fields when, like, let's say this is our disclosure. So I need a signature field here. I need them to put the date here. Okay. And I'm going to put a field here where they're going to print their name. Okay. Or, you know what? Just do this, signer name. It's easier. Okay. And that way what's going to happen is when they click this, all this stuff actually gets filled out. Just take a second to make sure everything's on the line where it's supposed to be. Okay, all right. All right, we just got a couple more signatures we need to go. Okay, sign a name, put it where it needs to be, date. Okay, I need the initial. Here's the thing, guys, be really anal retentive about how you do this. One missed initial is going to get it kicked back, particularly when I have to review them prior to closing. By the way, I just posted something on Transaction Desk. Please, 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 please. All contracts must be turned in within 3 days of execution. All listing agreements must be turned in within 3 days of execution. Turned in how? Turned in to back agent in the transactions section of back agent. Okay, so you're going to come in here, you're going to go into transactions and follow through how you create and add a transaction. We have a training on that already. There's a video for that. Okay, so this is the REO addendum that I needed to have filled out. I did so. You're going to pretend I did so on my computer, and you know the purchaser has to sign here. Okay, me personally, if they don't ask for a date, I'm going to do it anyway. Okay, I always sign and date. If you want to be really anal, I put an initial field at the bottom of every page too. Just, I mean, it's whatever you want, but you need to be, you know, pretty anal about it. This is the Alton Clark disclosures, so we're going to pretend I would have already inputted the address here, and then I'm going to, again, I got to do some dragging and dropping. It's a little bit of a pain, but I'll be honest with you, it's a heck of a lot better than having to drive to somewhere to meet your client to have them sign. You will save yourself just a ton of time. I use this virtually every single day. Virtually every single day. There's nothing that I have a client hand sign unless they're just that old school. Okay? So this form doesn't apply, so I'm done now. Okay? I am literally done, and my life is easy. Okay, so I hit the arrow, and you're going to come to this section, and it's going to say you can just go ahead and send it, or you can customize the invitation. You can click here and say, you know, what was this? 2631 Runyon. And then you can come in here and say, you know, this is the contract, you know, offer we discussed, blah, 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 you know, whatever you want to say. And then you hit save, okay, and then hit send, okay? So then what's going to happen is all of the forms are going to be put together in one single document. It's going to come to your client in a really cool way. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and show that to you. Might as well. We got you guys all on the line. Let me just go ahead and show it to you. I'm going to go ahead and send it to myself. So we're going to take a look at what it looks like for a client. So I'm going to come in here. I send it to my Gmail. We'll come in here and take a look at it. So that way you guys can see from a client perspective what they're going to get. So here it is, contract, Runyon Circle, right? All right, so here's an invitation to participate. If you don't see the image below, click here, or they can click here, okay? And it says who it was sent by and all that good stuff, so it's really cool. So I'm going to click here to sign if I'm your client. I'm just showing you guys this so you have a good understanding of what the tool is and what your clients are going to see, because trust me, you're going to have people that just need to have this explained to them. All right, so I'm going to create a password. Okay, great. Yes, confirm. Okay, now I got to come in here and agree, okay, that there's going to be data storage, there's a consumer consent, okay, password, agree, and then automatically a big red field's going to show up here, confirm and accept. Yes, I do confirm and accept. And now it is going to prepare the 25 signing blocks. And I hope you guys would agree, it's pretty friggin' simple, okay? So we're actually going to run through this. So your client is prompted to start. So I'm going to start, and it takes it, look, arrow, initial, click, done, click, done. So, I mean, you see how easy this is? This is friggin' awesome. And it is federally recognized. That's the awesome part. Sign, automatically dated, initial, done, sign, automatically dated. And your client, by the way, guys, can do this from a smartphone. All they need is, and here's the thing, they're never going to miss. Do you see how it's guiding me to do everything? You're never going to have a client miss a signature. And we're done. Complete signing. Okay. If they want to select stay and review, they can. So you have successfully completed your portion. Here's the ID number, and then it's telling them it's now going to process it. you know, they can even click here and log in with their email address and password and preview the dashboard if they want to. We're not going to do that. I'm going to come back into here in my dashboard, and I'm going to refresh. Oh, you're going to do this to me, aren't you? Of course, I'm going to come back in here into the transaction. Okay. Document for 26 Runyon Circle. And it's showing you here on the right hand side, authenticated, signed, you're good to go. Let's see if this takes me forever here. I apologize, guys. But hopefully you guys see how easy it is. I mean, I've had clients sign contracts on cruise ships, you name it. Okay, so now here's my contract. It's all signed. It's all done. I'm going to check it, make sure everything's good. Signature sections. Yep, I'm good. Okay, now I'm going to view it as a PDF, right? Save it to my desktop. Okay, here we go. Now, this is what I need now to email this to a agent, or in this particular instance, to submit my offer online using the online portal. But it is a really nice looking document. Here's what's really nice too. When you do this, you're not scanning and re-uploading. Every time you scan, you lose the quality and clarity of the contract. This keeps it nice and clean and good looking, and everything's done. And here's the sealed AuthentiSign ID. All right, so that's it, guys. It's Transaction Desk and AuthentiSign are two awesome tools that you guys get. Transaction Desk is free. AuthentiSign comes at a reduced cost to you guys. I highly recommend do all your transactions in Transaction Desk. And when you start rattling off some transactions and you want the ability to have a client sign all over the world on a cruise ship, while they're on vacation, wherever, it's huge, guys. It's huge. And think about this too. Think about, okay, you have and I've had this happen to me, you have a listing client, and they're like, you know what, James, I'm concerned. We're going on vacation for 2 weeks in Europe. Can we just wait 3 weeks to put this listing up till we get back? Of course not. I'm not gonna let them do that. We're in the heat of summer. I want to sell this thing now and leverage the summertime. So I'm gonna tell them, don't worry. You'll have internet access all over the world. All you need is a smartphone or connection to the internet, and I'll be able to get this to you and get it signed. Then what happens? You put the listing live. Within 3 days, you get an offer. And of course, what does the offer say? The offer says right here in the time of acceptance, oh, hey, you've got 24 hours to answer me, or this offer is no good. Oh, yeah, by the way, it's cash for full price. And, month closing. Well, I'm going to hustle and I'm going to get this done. Okay. So you have the ability to respond, move quickly, and get things done. And that is a really attractive tool and skill set to have for your clients. Okay. So I have recorded this. I'll be putting it up on the training channel and in Back Agent for you. Don't hesitate to reference it at any time. If you're concerned about what forms you do need to be using, remember, Back Agent, Office, under Office, Documents. And for instance, if you want, the complete selling packet so you don't mess up, here's the complete listing packet. So you will not screw up what forms you need to do. Okay? Here's the listing agreement. Here's the disclosures. Here's everything that you need. Okay? Use Transaction Desk. It'll make your life a lot easier. And here's what I really like too, by the way, with Transaction Desk. By the way, you come up here, click Return to Transaction Desk once I'm all done. When I log into Transaction Desk, all my transactions are here. So I'm going to work with an existing transaction. And it's all done by address. Okay? So you can see, I've got, 237 offers I've written, in here in this system. So it's really cool. This is a great way that you have your stuff archived, However, don't rely on this. Make sure it is in back agent, and make sure you have a file on your computer on your hard drive. All right, guys? I'm going to unmute you. Any questions from anybody? Yikes. Too much background. All right. Type it in the chat for me, please. Any questions that I can answer before I let you guys go? Okay, cool. Well, hopefully that was somewhat helpful to you guys. Please use it. It's such an awesome tool. I love it. I use it for all my stuff. All right. Hopefully I will see you guys tonight. All right. So we can actually be in a setting where we're not, I don't know. I enjoy non-work settings as well. Hopefully the rain will stay off of us. So thanks for your time, guys. Talk to you soon. Okay. Bye.